Coming up on Arirang News, President Moon Jae-in gives his New Year's address, promising all South Koreans free coronavirus vaccines. Life, he said, will return to normal and the economy will recover soon. The South Korean government starts disbursing a third round of COVID-19 relief funds for small businesses and the self-employed, around $900 for everyone, and up to triple that for businesses that have been hit harder. And North Korea continues with its Workers' Party Congress and may have held a military parade, which could reveal new weapons. Kim Jong-un has been given the title General Secretary of the party, a title held by his late father. It's 5 p.m. here in Seoul. Thanks for tuning in to Arirang News. I'm Devin Whiting. In his New Year's address Monday, President Moon promised that life will soon return to normal and free vaccines will be available to all citizens. This year, he said South Korea will set the pace for the global economic recovery. Hong Yoo has more.
A year of recovery, inclusiveness, and takeoff is how President Moon Jae-in described the year 2021 during his New Year's address on Monday. Promising that life would return to normal, President Moon announced that the country will be providing COVID-19 vaccinations for free to all citizens.
다음 달이면 백신 접종을 시작할 수 있습니다. 우선순위에 따라 순서대로 전 국민이 무료로 접종받을 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
He also promised a fast and sturdy economic recovery within the first half of this year, back to how it was before the pandemic. Starting with the distribution of the third round of relief payments Monday, the country will also speed up public and private investment projects worth more than $100 billion. More than $27 billion will be used in the first quarter of the year to create more than 1 million jobs for the vulnerable. The president said he will also review joining the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership as part of efforts to expand free trade agreement in the Asia-Pacific region. In regards to North Korea, President Moon remained determined to realize peace and prosperity on the Korean peninsula. He said a lot can be achieved through inter-Korean cooperation and hoped to open the door for co-prosperity and peace through the process of responding to the coronavirus. As well as enhancing the country's alliance with the U.S., Moon said he will work with the Biden administration to bring a change to the stalled talks with the North.
언제든 어디서든 만나고 비대면의 방식으로도 대화할 수 있다는 우리의 의지는 변함없습니다.
If last year was about South Korea being strong in a crisis, this year the president vowed that the country would set the pace in the new post-pandemic era. Hong Yoo, Arirang News.
South Korea on Monday saw a significant decline in new cases of COVID-19. The figure was below 500 for the first time in well over a month. Officials continue to say that the country is now past the virus's third wave, on the decline, rather. Kim Yeon-sung reports.
South Korea on Monday reported 451 new cases of COVID-19. It's the first time in 41 days that the country has recorded fewer than 500 cases. What's more, daily cases are less than half the amount seen just a week ago. Could this be a sign the third wave is losing steam? Local health authorities appear hopeful.
The third wave of infections seems to have peaked, and we are now seeing a downward trend.
Despite the optimism, officials are not getting complacent. An infection was confirmed at an auto production line in Asan, south of Seoul, which not only sparked fears of an outbreak, but also shut down the entire assembly line. Call centers also remain a cause for concern.
As we enter the winter season, we are worried about an uptick in cases at call centers in Seoul, Gyeonggi-do Province, Daegu, and other places. Some workplaces have more people working there as remote transactions have increased.
The authorities previously announced that the strengthened level 2.5 social distancing measures in the capital region will remain in place until January 17th. But some officials worry that it may be too early to ease up. After monitoring the number of new cases this week, the government will announce this weekend whether they will extend the measures. Kim Yeon-sung, Arirang News.
North Korea's ruling Workers' Party continues to hold its Congress, and according to South Korea, there are signs that a military parade has been held for the occasion. Details are scarce, but the last time it did so in October, the regime unveiled a new ICBM. Also, the North has designated Kim Jong-un as the party's general secretary, a post held by his late father, Kim Jong-il. Kim Da-mi reports.
It appears North Korea staged a military parade late Sunday in Pyongyang's Kim Il-sung Square. Seoul's Joint Chief of Staff said in a release Monday that it detected signs the regime held a parade related to its ongoing party congress. It adds that South Korean and U.S. military authorities are closely watching the North's moves, including the possibility the movements were part of a rehearsal. Last October, North carried out a rare late-night military parade to mark the 75th anniversary of the ruling Workers' Party. Also on Sunday, North Korea named Kim Jong-un General Secretary of the ruling Workers' Party. Reporting on Day 6 of the ongoing 8th Party Congress in Pyongyang, the North's state media said Monday that Kim was designated to that role within the party. The endorsement comes a day after the regime reinstated the system of party secretaries, which was scrapped 5 years ago in favor of an executive council. The secretary system, experts say, will further concentrate Kim Jong-un's power because he'll be the only one in the party hierarchy with the title of chairman of any entity. Kim's sister Kim Yo-jong, however, has been excluded from a previous list of alternate members of the party's political bureau. Cho Yong-won, considered one of Kim Jong-un's closest advisors, has been promoted to a top 5 position in the regime's power hierarchy. Jo is now one of the 5 members of the Politburo Standing Committee, along with Kim Jong-un, Choi Ryong-hae, Lee Byung-chul, and Kim Dok-hun. Park Bong-ju, once one of the committee members, has been excluded from all party positions. The North's Vice Foreign Minister Choi Sun-hee has been demoted from a member of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party to an alternate member. Kim Da-mi, Arirang News.
South Korea has started the process of distributing a third round of COVID-19 relief funds to small businesses and freelancers. Most are eligible for at least $1 million won, which is a little over $900. But for those who've had to close down or stop work completely, it's up to 3 times that. Disbursements have reportedly begun already. Min Soo-kyun reports.
South Korea is ready to roll out its third round of COVID-19 relief funds to help small businesses and workers across the country. The amount they will receive depends on the nature of their business and what restrictions they suffered. Those who've had to shut down, such as singing rooms and gyms, will receive about $2,800, while those who've had to restrict their business hours, such as restaurants and cafes, will get $1,800. For small business owners whose annual sales are under $365,000 and who saw a decrease in sales due to the virus prevention measures will receive $915. Workers deemed to be at risk during the pandemic will also receive cash payments. Those receiving the payments for the first time will have to go through a screening process to get $915, but those who have received earlier support will get half that amount without screening. Starting today, text messages are being sent to all those eligible for aid. Upon receiving the message, those whose business license ends with an odd number can apply on Monday, while those ending with an even number can do so on Tuesday. From Wednesday, all can apply. So far, more than 82,000 people have completed their applications, and some will receive the funds as early as Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. Min Soo-kyun, Arirang News.
The world's biggest tech exhibition, the Consumer Electronics Show, is happening this week, but because of the pandemic, it's online only. Big themes this year will be smart homes, digital health, 5G, self-driving cars, and AI. Samsung Electronics and LG Electronics have some highly anticipated TVs and other appliances to show off too. Kim Jae-hee has the details.
The first ever all-digital Consumer Electronics Show will be held from Monday through Thursday Eastern Standard Time. Smart home and digital health are expected to dominate the CES this year, as spending trends have shifted to people's home life due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We will see obviously a great focus on healthcare technology, but also a focus on broadband and things you can do for your home, not only for your home office to make it better, but also everything in your home that has to do with technology.
The number of companies participating this year has more than halved compared to last year, but South Korea is well represented with its number of firms outnumbering those from China. These include tech giants Samsung Electronics and LG Electronics, which will showcase their latest smart home devices, including their new TVs.
The role of TV in consumers' homes has increased in the pandemic era. Many LED backlight TVs are expected to be in the spotlight, and there will be fierce competition between Samsung and LG Electronics in terms of smart home appliances.
On January 6, Samsung Electronics released its new Neo QLED TV.
The Neo QLED is here to redefine what screens can do. What we want from our screens is a fully immersive experience.
Samsung will also show off its smartphone Galaxy S21 series and bring back Neon, an artificial human project for a showcase at last year's CES. LG Electronics already previewed its new QNED Mini LED TV last month and will also release its rollable phone, the LG Rollable. LG Display will showcase its transparent OLED panels. South Korea's GS Caltex, making its CES debut this year, will showcase the firm's drone delivery service. An expert also says the online CES is a good opportunity for small and mid-sized enterprises.
The biggest advantage is increased accessibility for startups. Previously, attendees of the event had to choose which companies they would like to visit due to time constraints. But this year, attendees can visit all exhibitors through the online platform.
A total of 97 Korean startups are participating at this year's CES. Kim Jae-hee, Arirang News.
Time now for an in-depth look at the market news as we start the week. And for that, I'm joined on the line by Dr. Yang Jun-seok, Professor of Economics at the Catholic University of Korea. Professor Yang, thanks for coming on today.
Happy to be here.
Stocks in New York closed at new all-time highs last Friday, despite December employment coming in worse than expected. Futures down ahead of Monday's open. Today, the Kospi started out higher, but in the end was a little bit lower. What's the story in the markets?
Okay, well, as you mentioned, the U.S. markets did very, very well. But the big mystery is that, there was a big protest insurrection on the United States, Washington, D.C. on January 6th, and that didn't seem to affect the market at all. The U.S. market on January 6th actually had a very high increase. So Dow rose on January 6th, the day of the insurrection, by 1.4% and hit an historical high, which actually went higher on Thursday and Friday, and S&P rose by 0.6%. NASDAQ fell, but it didn't fall more than the trend that it's shown earlier in the day. Now, the insurrection, the riots began at 3 p.m., market closed on 4 p.m., but on all three major indices, you didn't see that much of a change when the riots started. So, I was watching Bloomberg newscast at the time, and the analyst for the stock market was amazed himself that the riots, the insurrection, didn't seem to affect the markets at all. But anyhow, after January 6th, on the 7th and 8th, all indices rose, and that could probably be attributed to the confidence that the insurrection, the riots have been put down. But as you mentioned, perhaps because it has been hitting high on Friday, the futures seem to be down today. The markets seem to be heading down probably when it opens today, probably for profit-taking by the investors. Now, the European markets, again, they seem to be following the lead from the U.S. market. So CAC, FTSE, DAX all rose from Wednesday. Asian markets, Nikkei rose very strongly from Thursday, hitting historical highs. Hang Seng rose very slowly, but it rose. Strangely enough, the only major market which fell after the United States riots on January 6th was Shanghai. It fell slightly last week, and it fell about 1.08% today. And Korean market today there was a massive sell-off by institutions and foreigners. Institutions sold about 3.7 trillion won worth of stocks. Foreigners sold about 0.7 trillion won's worth of stock. And even though the individual investors bought more than 4 trillion won, it was not enough to stop the downfall in the market. It fell by 0.11% and ended today at 3,148.63. It's likely profit-taking after the Kospi market hit a record high on Friday and rose 4% on Friday alone. It was a weekday for Kosdaq. It fell 1.12% to 976.97. Unlike the Kospi market, which started strongly and then became weak throughout the day, Kosdaq started lower and it just kept falling.
All right, Professor, we're a little bit tight on time today, so we're going to have to leave it there, and we'll catch up again later in the week. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
That brings us to the end of this newscast. Thank you for watching. More live news coming your way at 7 p.m. Korea time.
Last February, Daegu was ravaged by an explosion of COVID-19.